Well, hey, it's Brendan from WP Speedfix. We're back with another video. And this one, I wanted to make a video about this blog article we have on our site that it's a very common problem. We get asked about it a lot. Websites that are de-indexed in Bing. So this seems to be an increasingly common problem where a site just gets removed completely from Bing search and there's no real clear reason why. And it actually happened to our site. It actually happened to multiple sites that we had a while back, and that's why we wrote this article. So this is probably even more relevant today than when we had this issue. It must have been 2 years ago we had this issue, but today it's even more important because Bing also powers a lot of ChatGPT search results. So if you're not in Bing, then you're probably not going to surface in ChatGPT in some cases. Now, not all. ChatGPT is moving more towards using other indexes, Google and Apple Maps, but if you're not indexed in Bing, it's a problem. You'll see here when we wrote the article, we talked about Bing doesn't generate a lot of traffic, but it does power second tier search engines that may be important for you, like DuckDuckGo. So DuckDuckGo uses Bing Index as well. So if you're not in Bing, you're not in DuckDuckGo. If you're not in Bing, you're not in, well, now in when I'm making this video in 2025, you're probably not going to surface a lot of the time in ChatGPT either. So this is an important issue. And if you have this problem, you really need to fix it. And also, if you're not in Bing, then you're missing out on free organic traffic. So let's talk through some steps here, some troubleshooting steps. Now, Bing seems to be more or less tolerant of technical SEO issues than Google. And it seems like, broadly speaking, these Bing index issues come from, or the root cause of them is technical SEO issues. Bing has some problem with the site that's some technical nature, and it just decides to de-index their site instead of just like Google would de-rank it. So if something at Google had a problem, it just wouldn't rank, it wouldn't get de-indexed, but Bing seems to de-index sites. So it's not entirely clear why. When we wrote this, we thought maybe it's a bug or some sort of penalty. We still kind of think that it's definitely something technical. Where there's something technical wrong with the site, Bing seems to just be happy to de-index it. So if you read through this article, you see, like I said, our own site got de-indexed by Bing, even though we had Bing Places listings. We actually had we have another agency, Australia-focused agency, and it got de-indexed as well. And both sites had even Google Places listings, Bing Places listings. So if you poked around and you searched and you could find them on Bing Maps, the sites still weren't indexed. So yeah, quite strange. So let's talk about some troubleshooting steps. We'll try and keep this video tight. So first step, confirm if you have an indexation problem. So just go to Bing, type in site.yourdomain.com. So bing.com.au, because I'm in Australia. So wpspeedfix.com, let's see. And we're okay. You can see so 393 results there indexed. So we're indexed. So we don't have an indexation problem. But I'm actually surprised not to see the homepage here as number one. So let's just do a brand search as well. WP Speedfix. Interesting. We may actually have an issue here. So it's still showing, it's not showing our homepage here. That's very strange. So we actually may have an issue. I need to look into that after this video. But yeah, that's a little strange that the homepage is not showing. So we may actually still have an issue here, but let's continue on the video. I'm surprised to see that. So do that, just see if the site is in there, how it's looking. So like we've just seen, maybe we still have an issue here. So that's the first step. Next one, confirm that your sitemap is working okay. So typically it's your domain sitemap.index_xml. So that's what ours is. So that should load okay. Yep, there we go. We use Rank Math. So this is a Rank Math plugin. So this is a Rank Math sitemap. And we typically say include it in the robots.txt file. So I'm hoping that we have that. I think we do. It's going to look really bad if we don't. There we go there. So we include the sitemap there. So sitemap, WP Speedfix, sitemap on the index, underscore index.xml. Now, there's no problem not having it, but we just want to give crawlers as many hints as possible to crawl the site. You don't necessarily need a sitemap, but the sitemap will help search engines discover pages to crawl. So that's why it's kind of indexation 101 stuff, but we just want to check that box. Check your robots file for weird issues. So again, you just want to make sure you're not, quite commonly we see weird issues where entire sites are disallowed. So ours is pretty clean. So we have some things there that are blocked. It's like we've blocked a login page for WordPress, feed pages, search pages, and just things that we found in Google Search Console that Google has been trying to crawl, or search crawlers have been trying to crawl, that we don't want crawled. So our robots.txt file is fine, but you just want to check to make sure you're not disallowing things you shouldn't be. The other thing you probably want to do is just check that the site is indexable and there's no, you'll see here there's stuff in here about no index tag. So we use this plugin. This is the detailed SEO plugin for Chrome, and you just want to check to make sure things are indexable. There's two ways you can there's three ways you can tell Google whether they can index. One is, tell search engines, I keep saying Google, tell search engines that they can index the site. One is that robots.txt file that blocks the crawler, so it stops crawlers accessing the site. And then you have a robots tag that is inside the code itself, so this is inside the header. And then you have robots server header, so this is sent with the file itself, sent by the server. So you want to have these, you don't want any conflicts here. So this plugin is a good way of just checking to make sure those no index tags are okay. You see here that we're indexable, so that's fine. I actually came across a site yesterday, hosting.com. Let's just see. Okay, it's okay today. Yesterday I had an issue where it was sending no index headers, so it's okay today. Okay, so that's robots.txt. Check for weird issues, check indexability. Make sure 404s are 404ing. Probably the easiest way to do this is just to load up a random URL. So this will 404 out, so you see the page can't be found. And you just want to go right click and inspect. So this is the developer tools. Go to network. I'll just reload that. And you just want to make sure that this returns, you'll see here status. You want to make sure that returns a 404. So that server is saying file not found. So that's what we want to confirm. A lot of the time, SEO people think 404s are bad. And there are some SEO plugins that allow you to redirect all 404 errors to the homepage or a particular page. Now, you don't want to do that because that is technically not correct. And you can expose the site to problems where you have images or other files that are 404ing out, and that's redirecting to the homepage, and that looks really weird to crawlers. That doesn't make sense, and it also is a negative SEO attack vector. So if I wanted to do negative SEO on your site, and I saw that you were redirecting all your 404s to a page, I could basically push a search crawler to index infinite amounts of URLs on your website, and they would all redirect back to the homepage or whatever the page it was. So 404s are not inherently bad. If something doesn't exist, it should generate a 404 page. So we just want to make sure that 404 pages or errors or whatever, where there's a file not found, show a 404 in the browser, but they're also sending that 404 server code. I think that's straightforward. Anyway, let's continue. Set up Bing Webmaster Tools. So this is the same as Google Search Console, essentially. It's the Bing version. So just go here and add your site. If there are weird issues, it may show up in there, not necessarily. But like I said here, about half the sites we had this problem with got reindexed just by setting up Bing Webmaster Tools. So it was just like a straight indexation issue, or they didn't know about the site, or it was something that got checked off by verifying it in Bing Webmaster Tools. Log a ticket with Bing support. So this is unusual. Google doesn't have support like this, but Bing does. So they have Webmaster support. So there's a link there. It's still working today. You'll see if this loads up. There's a button here, raise support request. So they're pretty quick. They often respond within a few days, so which is surprising for a search engine. So give that a go. They may tell you something's wrong. Everything we've seen, generally they just say that you didn't meet some sort of quality thing. It's like a template response. But there have been some cases where there was some issue that they corrected. So yeah, it's worth doing. It's free. There's no cost to doing it. Now let's talk about this one. Check your uptime and other technical SEO elements. So, like I said at the start, Bing seems less tolerant of errors. So I'd start here, get some uptime monitoring in place. Here we're recommending Uptime Robot. It had a free plan when we wrote it. It doesn't anymore. If you want uptime monitoring, check out our tool, Simple Uptime. So Simple Uptime, if I can type properly, simpleuptime.co. This is a tool we built for uptime monitoring. So check that out. It's cheap, it's easy, it's simple, hence the name. But basically you just want to check to make sure your site's not going offline all the time. So quite commonly we see sites getting hit, and particularly now getting hit by aggressive SEO crawlers and them going offline all the time. So if the site's offline all the time in an uptime tool, search engines are going to have problems crawling it too. So that could be the cause there. Test your site in Sitespeed Bot. This is our speed test tool. It'll probe for technical SEO issues, 404s, things like that. So it'll surface big things that are obvious that need to be fixed. Check Google Search Console for errors. While we're not talking about Google here, we're talking about Bing. The crawlers behave in a similar way. So if Google's crawler is getting errors, Bing's crawler will as well. There isn't really an equivalent in Bing to what you can get in Google Search Console. So if you go out here under settings on the left and then go to crawl stats, open report, this is all the crawling behavior that's going on. So this section here is kind of what we care about by response, and we want to deal with these errors. So if we're getting a lot of errors here, so you can see here 404s or 4xx errors, so those might be 403s even, access denied. But we want to go through here and make sure there's not anything unusual. It's normal to have a few errors. You can see here error 500 where it's trying to access things that it probably shouldn't. And you can actually build robots.txt directives based on the stuff here, but you want to make sure there's nothing strange going on. And likewise here, you'll see all the different things it's trying to call. Oh, when you're in here, make sure you use the domain property. So you can actually add URLs just by the URL, or you can add the entire domain. So we want to look at the entire domain. So you can see here, this one has subdomains. So this one here had problems in the last week. I'm guessing this doesn't exist anymore. It's probably had some DNS errors. Okay. Anyway, in any case, you want to make sure that these things should be crawled. If not, deal with them appropriately. You'll see here, so this dev site, so this was a staging site, shopping cart. Some of these things probably shouldn't be crawled. So basically, you want to go through there and just pick up errors and weird things and fix them. And if you're seeing a lot of 404s, like this is relatively high, 4%, but if you're seeing like upwards of 10 or 20%, then that's definitely an issue and you want to sort that out. But like I said, it's not Bing, but if Google gets these errors, Bing is going to get similar errors. What else? I had a few things that aren't in the article here. Okay, we talked about that. ChatGPT uses Bing. Being more sensitive. Okay, so here's a couple more that we didn't have in the article. So one is check the DevTools console. So in your browser, again, go to right-click, inspect, and click console. So this will tell you everything that's going on under the bonnet when the page loads. So I'll just reload this. And red is errors and yellow are warnings. So the reds, let's just reload one more. The reds we want to do something about. So anything that's yellow is not ideal, but it's okay. But reds are a problem. So you can see here, so we use CallRail for form tracking on our website, and you can see there's some issue here. We use this other plugin called Lasso. So there's some sort of conflict here. So Lasso looks like it's trying to talk to the CallRail endpoint. It's not clear, but basically we want to avoid, this one's probably okay in this instance or in the context of Bing being a problem, but we want to avoid errors here if possible. So if you're seeing a lot of JavaScript errors or even 404 errors, they'll appear here. So this is a good place to start when troubleshooting kind of technical SEO issues is in this console. And then the other place is I had W3CV validator. This is a hard one to say. Basically, this is kind of the web standard. If you go to validator.w3.org, this will basically check the site to see, I'll just go back here. It'll check the site to see if it has valid HTML. So again, it'll surface issues that the DevTools won't necessarily deal with because the browser is tolerant of some errors, but this will be quite strict in terms of checking. So you can see here there's a lot of errors, so this is not unusual. Most sites will have this. You'll see that again, info, fine to ignore. So when we're talking about warnings and errors, if information, you have warnings and then you have errors, so green, yellow, red. And the reds you probably want to pay attention to. You'll see here we've got some weird CSS like this. This is very strict rule checking, but things like typos and code in the wrong place will show up here. So This is worth, if you're having real issues and these other things haven't fixed it, then it would be worth going through this and just addressing, there's a lot of stuff in here. That's 300 errors and warnings. I think you can probably filter by errors too. There we go, message filtering. It's not great, but anyway, you can see there's a lot of stuff. So, oh yeah, there we go. So errors, 84 errors. So if we just show all errors, and how do we apply that? Anyway, I won't get into that. But basically, we want to deal with the errors. These are all CSS errors, so they're probably not too major, but, your site might be different. But like I said, all sites are going to have errors. So, this is, you can, to have completely valid HTML may be a lot of work and may not be worth it, but, this is probably a good place to start if you need to kind of dig in, and if it's, if you've exhausted the other avenues and you're still not indexed. So that's pretty much it, I think. What else do we have here? Yeah. So that's it. So we ran through this and we got re-indexed, but as you can see at the top of the video, maybe we still have a problem. But in any case, if you want more help, our team can help you out here. If you go to our website, you can request a free audit here at the top. Tell us what you need help with, and one of the team will get back to you within a day or so. We have a bunch of free tools here: free SEO audit, free Core Web Vitals report, free site speed test there. There's no opt-in required. All of those take about 60 seconds, 90 seconds to run, and we'll give you detailed insights on various things. And if there's anything else, just post a note in the comments. Happy to come back to you. Cheers.